Hello, welcome back. And today we're talking about what happens when you don't practice what you preach or what you teach. And this is why I'm so passionate about women living in their feminine and not trying to become mini men. Because you will kill yourself with the burnout and you'll actually be killing yourself from the inside. And so I did it to myself again. And so I will be sharing this little process and also of why I have this channel. Because this is exactly why. Because this has happened to me again in my life before. And I wanted to just share that story with you guys because I think it's been a while. Yeah. So, I'm going to read the script from one of my very first YouTube videos, but it's so embarrassing for me to watch. So I'm just going to be reading the script again and just doing it here. So, I have a question for you. When is the last time you felt a soothing connection with your body? I know, if you're a high achiever like me, and if you are here, you are too, you're like, I don't have time for that, right? Because we have so many things going on and so many things we want to do or feel like we need to do or to look successful or be who we have this image in our mind of, right? But in this video, I'm going to share with you something that changed my whole life, and it will change yours too if you decide to embrace it. Because, let's see, do any of these resonate with you? Are you a perfectionist? A workaholic? A high achiever? I'm going to tell you a story about me, but by the end, you will see it's about you too. So that's why I'm sharing it, okay? So for me, it all started when, ever since I remember, I always had to be something to be useful and not appear lazy. I aced my tests in school. I would memorize the whole spelling books. When the test came, I even knew in which order to write the whole spelling list and vocab and everything without the teacher even saying it. Like, I would have the whole thing done before she would get a few words into it. And the next big thing that happened was when I was 11. And I was in jiu-jitsu studying for the test to move on to the next level. And I felt like there was so much that I had to work on. There was like pages of things that you had to master. And so I made a calendar spelling out what to do every half hour of my day. And I was only 11. I did this till I was 18. Then I started 4-H at 12 and was immediately overwhelmed by all the things I had to learn about terms and animals and record books and studying for Skillathon, which was a contest about overall knowledge about all the livestock species. And also doing livestock judging, which, let me tell you, it is it's challenging. I'll keep it positive. So I dove into that with everything that I had, and I did that until I was 16. I was miserable. I loved the animals, but all I did was do school and then study for that. I did become the best in my club and in the state, and even qualified to all 3 national events, all 3 4-H national events, which is unheard of, and I was only 16. So I went to National Congress, which was for having the best record books in the entire country. I went to a Denver Nationals, which is for livestock judging, which means you have to be one of the best livestock judges in the country. And you have to give oral reasons, which is when you have to look at a set of animals, write down the main things about them, remember that set, and then you have to do 10 of them. And you memorize each of them in 10 minutes to be able to say before a judge, and you have to have all these exact terms and everything and the way you do it, and it was a lot. I still can't believe I did it looking back. Especially considering what a shy kid I was, and so tender and sensitive and everything. And then I went to the National Skillathon. So I was the best in Skillathon also and went for that Nationals. So most people only make it to 1, and I did all 3. By the time I was 16, and I only started when I was 12, and most kids start 4-H at 9, or 8 even. So, and I was only 16. But I couldn't take a break from studying. I felt like anytime I was having fun or relaxing was a waste of time. And imagine that, just being a kid, and yet with that heavy burden energy. So I saw my friends once a year, and otherwise was at home helping or studying. And I was so burnt out. I cried at night, and during the day felt absolutely miserable inside. I was depressed, and there was nothing fun or enjoyable in my life. Because even when I would want to go, say one night, all my friends went ice skating. And I was like, oh, can I go? And mom and dad were like, oh, well, I think you need to study, because I was going for nationals and stuff. But that's how it was. And which I'm grateful for. I mean, friends can take you down a really bad road. I was very fortunate. I have very good friends, and they're still my friends to this day. Extremely good people. And yeah, but still, so no wasting time there. So anyways, so I quit 4-H after going to the nationals events and then dove into a speech and debate league because I wanted to learn something useful for life, and I was scared out of my mind for debating. Like, that just was the scariest thing to me. And within 7 months, I qualified and placed extremely high in the nationals. And in that 7 months, I wrote 64 exactly 6-minute speeches, because it had to be, on super deep intellectual topics of religion even, which is where you have to make sure you're getting things right because you don't want to be leading people down a wrong path at that, besides all my debate briefs. And what is weird is all this time I absolutely hated everything I did and competed in, and yet everyone was like, oh, you are so good at it, you must love it. And they were like, no one does this good so fast in something that they aren't passionate about. But that was not me. I just did it because I guess my superpower is my willpower. Because every day I was in tears and had these big breakdowns all by myself in my room, and it was severely so sad. Like, I won't say I believe in depression, but I feel like I was kind of there. I was so overwhelmed that I had to keep up 3 of those deep topic speeches a week and have all this information ready for debate and cross-examination, etc. It was so much, and I felt like I couldn't do it, much less keep up. All I did for 7 months straight, and I never saw my friends during that time, was write speeches and study from 8 a.m. till 11 p.m. at night. And then it was a 5-hour class every Monday for it, which I absolutely dreaded. The people were nice, but I just was not thriving. In fact, I was dying inside. My eyes hurt and watered up and were so tired all the time. And with that, I couldn't even keep my eyes open. So if you were at the dinner table with somebody, I'd be closing my eyes when they're like talking to my parents or something. My beautiful long hair was falling out, and I was bald on the sides in front. So I would always, comb my hair with the middle part like I have now, even though I don't need it anymore, to work on covering it. I lost 15 pounds and couldn't eat without feeling like throwing it back up, and that was when I was 15, because I did the same thing when I was studying for judging nationals. So I just ate very little, nor did I feel hunger because my mind was so preoccupied with all the things I was doing and needed to get done. I had headaches all the time, which got worse when I did anything active, so I never would run or anything. I had severe muscle and joint pain and just felt so fatigued all the time. Like, I don't even know if I can explain it. Like, when I was 15, I would be telling this lady who's kind of like my grandma, I was like, I feel like I'm 90 years old. And I meant it. I had a never-ending to-do list. I hustled all the time with no rest, and even then couldn't fall asleep at night. My eyes ached and felt... let me see. And felt so tired all the time that I could barely keep them open. And because they were so tired, I couldn't even keep them open without huge burning sensations and with them just watering up so much and being red. And I barely smiled unless we were with people. And then, you put on your mask and your happy face exterior, And it was awful. And I was 17 at this point. After that, nationals in May, I quit speech and debate, even though Dad kept really wanting me to do it. And I just had to stop. And after that, I just laid on my bed for a week straight, and I think I was also quite ill as well. And anyways, that July I went on a trip with my best friend's family, and I had an experience with God that absolutely changed my life. I'm forever grateful for that. But I was still in hustle mode, always trying to earn my keep by helping out mom and dad out in the field, in our construction company, cooking, helping out wherever I could, the paperwork outside of things, and massaging my parents at night for 2 whole hours, every evening. I would do that, even though my hands ached so bad, and I think I was already getting carpal tunnel from all the studying I had done previously and all the typing that I was having to do all the time. And for my 2 to 3 hours of music practice every day. I would also do that because I was doing piano, violin, and cello, and there were music recitals and all of this. And you know what? This is the sad part. I thought I'd get more love and attention since I was being so selfless, living for others, and always doing what others wanted me to do, and making sure that whenever I said anything, I was saying something that they wanted to hear. And I was the queen of being a people pleaser and a nice girl. And I thought I would get more love for this by being happy. but I didn't. It was so confusing to me because my brother pretty much could care less about making mom and dad happy. I mean, he would, but he didn't even care about doing every single thing they wanted, etc. And yet he got all the attention and the love, and he was the one they would always talk to everyone about. And it was so confusing to me. I won't use a swear word, but it was so confusing to me. I could not understand how this was happening. So I did this till about October. Even then I was hustling all the time and working on myself with self-improvement, studying all day, building my investment portfolio and a business I was building on the side. And I was so burnt out and I was also the queen of making everything difficult at this point. I thought life was difficult, so even if something was easy, I would start making it difficult. Do any of you guys do that too? I thought I had to work all the time, and yet it still didn't feel good to me. Because I'd been listening to and reading Grant Cardone, Donald Trump, Robert Kiyosaki, Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, and they are all about the hustle and grind. Especially if you read Grant Cardone. If you're a woman, please don't read his stuff, okay? Especially if you're a high achiever and you're a woman. Like, no, that is not the content for you. And, which I admire these men and for what they have accomplished in wealth. But inside, it just didn't feel like this was the way it should be. It felt wrong in my body and made me feel so drained. And it was like 10x this stuff, hustle all the time. You can always push yourself more. Don't take time off. You need to be working. All of that. It felt wrong in my body and made me feel so drained. And then everything changed, or it started to change anyway. A lady found me, and the way she taught everything makes sense and fall into place. As feminine beings, we do not have the hormones and enough testosterone as men to be able to hustle all the time. And don't get me wrong, we women can hustle all right, but it takes a toll, a huge toll on our bodies. We get burnt out and drained and fatigued and overwhelmed and listless in the masculine do grind, all the time. Hustle all the time in our culture. Women have 16 times less testosterone as men. So we just can't do that without our bodies dying. Adrenal fatigue, which I can now attest to that my doctor samples say that I have. Autoimmune issues, also the same. Rheumatoid arthritis, which is what I have. But I'm getting rid of it. In fact, I'm claiming it's already gone. And then it progresses. You get ovarian cancer, or like uterus cancer, cancer in general, period issues, which let me attest to that. It's been absolutely a nightmare. It's been getting more and more horrible. That's where I'm going to make another video, or maybe this one, of like how everything's changing. Pain everywhere, other symptoms like our hair falling out like crazy and literally becoming old and dry. And this is our body screaming to us for help. For most women, this happens to them in their 20s or 30s. I just got it early. And anyways, I just started binge watching her content and embodying it. I was so terribly burnt out and exhausted. I just started sleeping and laying around all day and being okay with everyone seeing it. That's the big thing. Because I used to not ever let anyone be able to see me rest because I thought that was being lazy, and that was my shadow. And if they said something or yelled at me for it, or not yelled, but got kind of mad, it would really hurt me so that I would never do it again. And I finally got to the point I didn't care. I was like, whatever. So my family was constantly like, are you okay? Because they had never seen me rest. I bought courses and started doing my inner work and healing from my shadows and limiting beliefs and embracing my feminine energy. And instead of just my masculine energy, I started healing. I began to love others and myself again. And I would work on my business a little here and there and just started taking my time with everything instead of rushing and hurrying all the time. In fact, my dad would always yell at me growing up because I would always move so fast. If he wanted a tool or something, I would run and get it. And then really fast, give it back. And he would always yell at me. He's like, do not run at the job site. That's so dangerous. And yet I always didn't want to get, yelled at for being slow or something. So I always just wanted to get the thing done, make him happy and I apply that to everything in life. But it's such a change when you can just start to move slowly and just be able to be still. As soon as I started embodying this way of life, I noticed massive changes. I started to heal. My hair came back. My constant, almost debilitating headaches and pain went away. My eyes were healed and felt cared for again. I started enjoying life and being happy and grateful. I started being in my feminine energy, which is my being energy, or which is the being energy. And before, I was always doing in my masculine energy, which is the doing, getting things done, no pleasure energy. And I still have a ways to go before I get to the end of this journey. But I've started. And no one talks about these deeper issues. So this is my calling in life, is to share what I have learned with you. The beautiful lady who knows that there has to be another way in life than this overwhelm and hustle culture. I am becoming my own dream girl, the girl I had hidden away deep down inside of me, the girl God made me to be. And there's one inside of you too. And I want to help draw her out of you too, so that you can be your own dream girl and have your own dream life. It is possible for you. Yes, you. And if you would like to learn more about this, I would call it delicious, juicy, magnetic, amazing way of living. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And comment below if you could relate to any of this and what topics you'd be interested in. And I'm sending you all my love. And if you want to go deeper in any of this, check out my course down below, which is where I've documented how you can get yourself out of this. And how recently I am getting myself out of it again, because I fell back into being the masculine. And I got my blood test done because I was so sick. And all of those things have showed up. And I will talk to you guys about that in another video. I'll make a part 2 to this, which will be so, so good. You guys have to watch that one too. And yeah, I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.